Para sa akin po, ang pinakamalaking problema pa rin natin sa ating bansa ay yung problema ng kahirapan at yung kawalan ng trabaho. Dito po umuugat ang ibang malalaking problema natin sa ating bansa. Yung problema ng insurgency is rooted in poverty po. Yung problema ng illegal drugs, rooted in poverty. Yung problema po natin sa kriminalidad, rooted in poverty. Yung prostitution, rooted in poverty. Yung illiteracy or yung bumabagsak na educational standards at level po ng kabataan natin, rooted po in poverty. Yung OFWs being abused in other countries po, rooted in poverty. So kung ma-address lang po natin itong poverty at yung kawalan ng trabaho, at mabigyan natin ng dissenting trabaho bawat tatay, bawat kabataan po, gaganda at unulad po ang ating bansa. At yun po ang pinakamalaking challenge po natin. Paano po ang pagsolbar ng kahirapan at ng kawalan ng trabaho sa ating bansa? Ang problema po kasi, isang problema po natin, yung mga politiko ho kasi natin, ang pamilya nila dumadami sa politika, ang negosyo nila lumalago, lumalawak, gumaganda, pero ang taong bayan may hirap pa rin. So, yun po ang problema natin sa mga lideres natin kasi maraming mga lideres natin makasarili. Sakim, ganid, iniisip lang nila ang sarili nila at ang pamilya at ang negosyo nila. So anyway, itong programa ko po, itong plataforma ko, 90% po ng programa sa plataforma ko ay nakatutok sa paggawa ng hanap buhay sa mga mahirap na pamilya sa ating bansa at nakatutok sa pagtulong sa paggawa ng trabaho po para sa mga kabataan. Kasi ang daming kabataan ho natin na kahit na college graduates po, walang trabaho. No? So, yun po, no? Ang una po dito kanina, ito po ay tinatawag ko na Family Health Insurance Card. Pantulong po ito sa mga bawat pamilya, 22 million families sa ating bansa po. Pag nagkasakit kasi sila or isa sa pamilya nila, hindi po nila alam kung saan pupunta, kung saan uutang para po pambayad sa hospital bills or pambili ng gamot. So ito pong family health card insurance na sinusulong ko po, mabibigyan ng 100,000 piso po ang bawat pamilya taon-taon. At dito niya po pwedeng kunin ang hindi po kayang bayaran ng PhilHealth, pambayad po sa hospital. Pangalawa po, sinusulong ko rin po yung programa na National Dairy Program. Ginagaya lang po natin dito ang naging successful ang programa po ng Thailand, na naging pet program po ng dating King of Thailand. Ito pong programa pong ito, yung National Dairy Program, kaya po nating iahon sa kahirapan siguro po mga 4 million na mahirap na maliliit na magsasaka at ang pamilya nila. Kung bawat pamilya po, 4 million families, 20 million na mahirap na mga Pilipino po yan. Ang kaya nating maiahon sa kahirapan dito po sa National Dairy Program. Pangatlo po, gusto ko pong tutukan yung pagbigay ng trabaho. Ito pong import substitution doon po sa mga basic food items, no? Family businesses sa basic food items na instead po ini-import natin tulad ng baboy o manok, dapat po ibigay natin yan sa mga maliliit at ordinaryong pamilya po. In my computation po, this can generate at least 3 million, jobs po or hanap buhay sa at least 3 million na mga mahirap na pamilya po sa ating bansa. No? In addition po kanina doon sa National Dairy Program. At gusto ko rin po tutukan yung Center for Youth Entrepreneurship Program po para sa mga kabataan. Ito pong Center for Youth Entrepreneurship Program, parang bangko po ito. Kolektahin po natin lahat po ng mga successful na entrepreneurship program na sinimulan po ng kabataan sa iba't ibang bansa. At dito po sa Pilipinas, gawan po natin ng template. Alamin po natin bakit siya naging successful, ano bang elemento. Gawan po natin ng template. At itong template po, gawin natin available for free online. Para po kahit na ang may isang bata na Filipino na nasa Tawi-Tawi o Taguig po o nasa Tagigaraw, na gustong pag-aralan po ang template po na ito. Basta marunong siya magbasa, kahit hindi po siya graduate ng kolehiyo, pwede niya po i-implement yung negosyo po na yun sa lugar niya. At dagdagan po natin ng suporta doon sa pang-capital po nila or pang-financial requirements po nila. Idikit po natin sa SB Corp, Small Business Guarantee and Finance Corporation para po matulungan sila sa financial requirements nila. At suportan po natin ang training. So ito lang po ang ilan sa mga programa na gusto pong isulong. Pero ito po, itong 5 pa lang po na ito, sobrang dami na po ang matutulungan ito. Milyong-milyong pamilyang Pilipino. So yun po ang gusto kong tutukan sa aking plataforma. 90% po nakatutok talaga sa paggawa ng trabaho at hanap buhay sa mga mahirap na mga Pilipino po. Maraming salamat.
Hello and welcome to Tech Talk, our virtual kwentuhan for our IT BPO employees. Today, we are pleased to be speaking with our senatorial candidate, Attorney Alex Lacson. Don't forget to follow the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag TechTalkWithAlex.
Tubong Negros, Alex Lacson is the only Visayan in Tropang Leni-Kiko. He is a lawyer and founding partner of Malcolm Law Firm, an NGO and civil society leader, and author of best-selling books, including 12 Little Things Every Filipino Can Do to Help Our Country. He is also a sought-after public speaker and recipient of the Good Citizen Award from the EDSA People Power Commission. Welcome, Sir Alex.
Maraming salamat, Kiel. Maraming salamat, Cam. Maraming salamat sa imbitasyon na binigay niyo sa akin.
Now, sir, we are very, very excited to get to know you and your platform. But before anything else, sir, we just want to know, how have you and your family all been coping during the pandemic? How are you?
I think we're doing okay. The family is doing okay. We have learned so much from each other itong panahon ng pandemic. Kanya-kanya kaming develop ng hobbies namin. Yung isa went into cooking and baking, isang daughter ko naman went into gardening and crochet. Yung isang son ko went into guitar and biking. Tsaka nag-alaga kami ng 4 na stray cats or kalyang pusa. Nung kinuha natin sila, maliit pa ngayon, ang lalaki na nila. So after almost 2 years, ang lalaki na nila. And we have really become a much better family. We have become closer. We have learned so much how to understand each other and to listen to one another. Nagpapalit-palitan kami kung minsan na maghugas ng pinggan, including magluto ng breakfast, especially kung off yung kasama namin sa bahay. So it's, I think, one of the best blessings of this pandemic for us in the family, na naging malapit kami sa isa't isa at napagmahal kami sa isa't isa.
Naku, sobrang nakaka-relate ako dyan, Sir Alex, kasi to be honest, lalo din sa adopting stray cats, kasi naging cat daddy din ako now na since 2020.
Adopting po siya.
Yes, sobrang naging cat daddy ako. And also yung reconnecting with family then, I really get that. Now, ngayon, nasa level 3 na naman tayo, and for sure, mas marami pa tayong madidiscover sa sarili natin. Can you share something that, something na hindi alam ng mga tao or something na maso-surprise kami about you, perhaps something new?
I don't know kung maso-surprise kayo, but I actually love walking every afternoon. I really enjoy it. Sometimes I walk for 1 hour, sometimes for 2 hours in the village. Kung minsan sinasama na ako ng anak ko, kung minsan dalawa sila, kung minsan lahat kami, ang buong pamilya. And I love joining my wife for a noon mass sa Zoom, almost every day also. Except kung nasa labas ako magkampanya, no? And itong pandemic, I have learned to love milk tea with my son. Yung son ko kasi, yung youngest son ko is 16, loves to buy milk tea dyan sa labas ng village namin. And one time sinubukan ko at nagustuhan ko. So every time na bumili siya ngayon, 2 na kami.
At nakakatuwa naman po yung
Yeah.
bonding niyo, sir, na talagang
Yeah.
very you include your family sa walk niyo, yung
Yeah.
you join your wife. So nakakatuwa po na very family man po talaga kayo. Now, sir, another question, just to drift off a little bit. In your official biography, you also mentioned your siblings, they migrated with their families as the reason why you wrote your best-selling book. Now, in the Philippines, sa IT BPO sector, it seems like yung migration might be the solution for many people looking for economic equality and a state that will really take care of them. So what can you say to people who are considering leaving, or yung parang ito na lang yung solution nila na nakikita nila? And what about those who choose to stay here in our country?
Alam mo, I have nothing against those who leave the country and those who harbor plans of leaving the country for working abroad. I really have nothing against them. If you can find a work abroad that can pay you 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more than what your work can pay the Philippines, I give you. Why not, diba? If you can find a more complete or a full development of your talents, of your skills abroad than in the Philippines, why not? Who am I to tell you that you are wrong, diba? And in fact, many of those na kilala ko at mag-anak ko na pumunta ng ibang bansa, doon nagtrabaho, doon nanirahan, they continue loving the Philippines. And in fact, nung nagkaroon sila ng pera, when they have na-develop nila yung resources nila, they actually are able to help more than many Filipinos that I know na sa Pilipinas. So, I really have nothing against them if they want to look for better opportunities abroad. Until such time siguro na we can develop the Philippines para they can find their full development dito sa bansa natin. Ang importante lang naman is wag kang tumigil sa pagmamahal sa ating bansa. Wag kang tumigil sa pagtulong sa ating bansa. Saan ka man. Kasi highly globalized na yung mundo natin eh. Kahit saan naman eh, di ba? Hindi mo naman natatanggal yung pagiging Pilipino mo eh. Di ba? So, yun. And for those who have decided to stay and plan to stay in the Philippines, siguro just thank you, no? Thank you for staying. But at the same time, it is not enough that you just stay in the Philippines. Kasi it's possible that you stay in the Philippines pero wala ka rin ginagawa. Diba? You're also not part of the solution. So it's important to stay and be part of the solution. So kung nandito ka, so find a way to help, find a way to be part of the solution, find a way to be part of the answer. So yun po, no?
I really agree on that, Sir Alex. And, talagang it depends on your calling. Kung ano yung gusto mo gawin, kung ano yung plans mo. And we have a lot of different reasons whether to leave or to stay. Pero ikaw, like what you said, we want to thank you because pinili mong manatili dito. And actually, you are so active in so many organizations here focused on so many things, from public governance to community development and even interfaith ministry. It seems to us that you are doing your part as a citizen to be the change, as you said. So, sir, why enter politics? What can you do as a senator that you're not able to do now?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Kiel. No? Ang totoo niyan is I have been writing books for almost 20 years now. I've been offering solutions in my books for almost 20 years now. And I've been involved in the good governance work in the country for almost 20 years now. I became president of an organization na tumutulong sa mga LGUs and national government agencies. At I've been involved in almost 15 years sa pagtulong sa paggawa ng hanap buhay sa mga mahirap na pamilya sa iba't ibang probinsya, sa Alay Buhay Foundation. But I've been doing all these things for almost 20 years. Beyond pa, no? But hindi ko pa rin nakikita yung tunay na pagbabago na gustong makita sa ating bansa. At ang totoo niyan, tumatanda na ako at sawang-sawa na ako sa mga nangyayari sa ating bansa. So naisip ko habang may konting lakas pang naiwan sa sarili ko. Gusto kong isulong. Gusto kong isulong yung tunay na pagbabago na sinulat ko sa aking libro. Yung latest book kasi na sinulat ko, itong 500 Years Without Love, doon ko sinulat yung social cancer ng ating lipunan at saka kung ano yung mga root causes or mga ugat nito. At nag-offer ako ng radical reforms kung paano sulpuin yun. So naging klaro sa akin kung paano baguhin yun, kung paano sagutin, at kung ano yung kailangan nating radical reforms para masiayos natin ang bansa natin. At isa to sa mga nagbigay talaga sa akin ng lakas ng loob na sumabak at pumasok sa marumi at magulong mundo ng politika. Dahil gusto ko talaga isulong yung tunay na pagbabago, yung pangarap kong Pilipinas, pangarap nating Pilipinas. Simple lang naman, di ba? Pangarap nating Pilipinas. Pilipinas na kung saan sana walang Pilipino na naiwanan sa kalye ng kahirapan. Kung saan sana bawat pamilya may sariling bahay, may buhay na may dignidad. Kung saan bawat bata tunay na may pag-asa sa magandang kinabukasan. Kung saan ang mga batas ay pantay-pantay na oportunidad. Kung saan yung mga mahirap pwede ring maging mayaman at yung mga mahihina pwede ring lumakas. So, ganong klaseng Pilipinas na alam ko kaya natin kung isusulong lang natin, kung ipaglalaban lang natin. So yun po, no? Gusto kong ipaglaban yun. Gusto ko pong isulong. At yung biggest reforms na kailangan natin para maabot yon, yung pangarap nating Pilipinas, nasa politika kasi, nasa loob. So, kailangan talaga bangayan ka, awayan ka, makipagdumihan ka bago mo maisulong yung radical na reforms na yun.
And I guess, sir, to add to that, in addition to what you're saying, initially you announced that you were planning to run for vice president in 2022, but you decided to run as a senator with VP Leni instead. So, ano pong nagbago? What changed your mind? And how does your advocacy complement Tropang Leni-Kiko?
Yung original decision ko talaga nung July last year was to run for the Senate. Pero nung nag-decide ako, yung decision ko to run for VP was a last-minute decision kasi nag-decide si President Duterte na tumakbo for Vice President. Tapos walang totoong opposition at the time nakakalaban sa kanya. So ang sabi ng partido, kinausap ko ng partido, Alex, tapatan mo na lang para may totoong kalaban. So last-minute decision yun, nag-decide kami, nag-file ako nag-announce ng partido na tatakbo ako for Vice President. Pero nung tumakbo si Senator Kiko at siya ang pinili ni VP Leni, so I gladly gave way to Senator Kiko. Kasi ayoko nang ma-divide yung opposition. Iisa na lang, tapos tulungan at yun po. No? And I really believe that Senator Kiko would become a very, very good Vice President. So it was not a difficult decision for me to slide and to support Senator Kiko for Vice President.
So it's really so nice to hear you say these things, and mukhang napaka-active niyo po talaga in participating for the change that we want. And as a lawyer, author, public speaker, civil society leader, and family man, you must juggle so many responsibilities each day. Now, do you have any tips po for those of us who might be struggling with competing priorities? Yung paano niyo po ito ginagawa? We're very interested to know.
Wala lang. Yung belief ko lang talaga, it's my deep-seated belief that there is a time for everything. Di ba? There is a time, kahit sa Biblia, sinabi yan sa Ecclesiastes, di ba? There's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time to plant, and there's a time to harvest. And so there is a time for everything. If you set aside, if you just really plan your day well, you know that there's a time for everything. And when you are there doing something as part of the plan, it is important that you fully plant yourself there. Be fully present in the thing that you do so that you can give your best. Because if you're not fully present in that thing that you're doing at the moment, you cannot give your best. So yun. And focus is essential because it is in focusing that we can do so much in this world. Uh, di ba yung message nga itong the lesson from the magnifying glass, if you put in so much focus, magnifying glass, you put it under the sun, that yung glass na yun, yung magnifying glass, it can burn an egg or a paper or even a wood yung sa ilalim doon kasi kinoconcentrate ng magnifying glass yung strength and yung energy ng rays of the sun into a small tiny pot. So by focusing the energies of the rays of the sun, it is able to burn. So by focusing also, we can do so much. We can achieve a lot.
I love what you said about being present and being focused. I know it's so simple, yet I think it's actually one of the hardest things to do because we've been so desensitized to a lot of things. We're so used to, doing things na may routine na tayo, may habit na tayo, that actually just being, present is already hard. But once you're able to, be in the habit of being present, I admire what you said, sir, na a lot of things, you can achieve so many things and actually be effective. So I really admire what you said. And we will keep that in our hearts, attorney. That's such a very good advice po. And attorney, again, you're running under an 8-point platform focused on empowering the grassroots sector and reducing unemployment while changing ownership structures to favor the marginalized. Is your platform inclusive of the IT BPO sector as well? And paano po?
Yes, it is. No, actually, from 8 programs, naging 15 programs na ngayon yan, yung platform natin. But yes, inclusive siya of the IT and BPO people, including their families. No? One thing I'd like to stress, no, itong one program that I'm pushing for, hindi original sa akin to. In fact, it was suggested to me by one of a listener in one of the gatherings na nakiusap talaga siya na sana isulong ko raw ito kasi kailangan ng bawat pamilya. I call this as the family health insurance card. Family health insurance card. Under this family health insurance card or family health card, bawat pamilya ay mabibigyan ng 100,000 pesos taon-taon. Para pag nagkasakit ang any member of their family, meron silang makukunan ng pandagdag na pambayad sa hospital and for the medicines. Kasi pag nagkasakit ka ngayon, ang covered ng PhilHealth, maliit lang. No? So, marami ang kulang. So, halimbawa, kung minsan 20,000 lang binabayaran ng PhilHealth sa'yo, kung minsan 30,000, paano kung yung hospital bills mo is say 500,000 or 1 million, saan kukunin yung iba? No? That's why po, ayon sa isang study na ginawa ng isang European think tank na lumabas no I think March of this year, almost 80% of the Filipino people in the country today nabubuhay sa utang. We're talking about 90 million Filipinos. 80% nabubuhay sa utang at marami sa kanila baon na baon sa utang. So pag nagkasakit sa isang pamilya nila, hindi na nila malaman kung saan pupunta. Kung saan sila kukuutang para lang mayroon silang pambayad sa hospital. Dahil hindi nababayaran lahat ng PhilHealth. So itong family health card na pinopropose ko, pandagdag ito sa mga hindi nako-cover ng PhilHealth. In fact, hindi po yan enough. Pero except that 22 million families kasi sa bansa, sobrang dami. Yung premium payments niya, at least kayang bayaran ng gobyerno. So yung 100,000 bawat pamilya taon-taon applies to every family, including the families of those in the IT and BPO sector. So kasama po sila doon. Of course, sinusulong din po natin yung workers' benefits ng mga IT and BPO workers, no? Yung health benefits nila, including yung mga working conditions benefits nila, And hopefully, including po yung mga night premium pay nila. I don't know, let's revisit that. Tingnan po natin. So yun, lahat po ng mga benefits na pwede po natin tingnan, including sa mga workers po, tingnan po natin. No? Including po yung government services sa mga kailangan ng mga IT and BPO workers, tingnan po natin how we can improve those para magpagsilbihan sila. Especially po those yung nagtatrabaho sa gabi, yung nasa night shift.
Maraming salamat, Sir Alex. It's so good to know about your platforms and all of your plans, especially po sa aming sector sa IT BPO. And also, we noticed that you seem to have a soft spot for education and educational assistance for the poor, including personally supporting numerous scholars. So in your opinion po, what should the government do to ensure our students become globally competitive and thrive in a dynamically changing environment po?
Oo. Alam niyo po, in my analysis, siguro about 10% up to 10% of our college graduates every year might eventually find themselves working abroad, or at least for global or international organizations or companies. No, 5 to 10%. The rest, 90%, nandito sa Pilipinas, no, or sa mga Philippine companies. So, at yung usually, ang lumalabas na 5% up to 10% who are working abroad, yung sa professional level, I think they are globally competitive, in my opinion, globally competitive. But of course, there's still so much that the government can do to help. But kung produkto kasi sila ng mga private schools, so mas nasa private schools yung responsibility. But a big part of our OFWs, ito yung produkto siguro ng skilled workers, unskilled workers, including domestic servants. I don't know kung nasa 80% ngayon yan, no, or nasa 70%. So, to make our graduates to become globally competitive, we have to address it in many directions. No, kung 80% ng ating OFWs are into skilled and unskilled domestic servants, then we have to improve the poverty situation in our country. So that hopefully by the time someday darating na yung panahon na hindi na tayo nagpapadala ng domestic servants. Pwedeng skilled workers pero hindi na domestic servants. Kung ma-improve natin yung poverty situation dito sa bansa in such a way na hindi na sila kailangan maging yaya or katulong sa ibang bansa. No? So it's a question of poverty situation in our country. So we must address poverty in our country. No? Doon naman sa mga skilled, nasa training ito ng TESDA, training ng government. So we have to improve. So ibig sabihin, it involves government funding. It also involves government training. No? Ang ginagawa sa Europa kasi, halimbawa, kung especially sa mga Scandinavian or Nordic countries like Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, ang ginagawa nila doon, ang policy nila is that kung nawalan ka ng trabaho, the government offers you a training for another field kung gusto mo, or a retraining. No? So maybe we can offer the same thing sa bansa natin, especially those sa mga skilled workers natin, for enhancement. But again, for the 80% na ang trabaho ay skilled workers, yun siguro, we have to improve the poverty situation in our country. Yung sa doon naman sa taas, we're talking about the 20%, ito yung produkto ng mga private schools na nagtatrabaho sa mga global corporations, sa mga international organizations, and abroad, no? So usually ito yung mga graduates ng Lasal, UP, Ateneo, San Beda, UST, di ba, so ang matutulong lang talaga ng gobyerno din sa kanila is siguro yung additional training from our end dito sa Philippines if they are here. But it's largely yung kung anong pinoprovide ng private schools kung saan sila nanggaling.
Thank you for sharing that, attorney. Those are actually really good plans, and we're excited, and we're really,
Yeah.
really would really love to see this come into fruition. And really, I love especially what you mentioned about retraining for other fields. I think marami pong makaka-benefit niyan, lalo na po dito sa Pilipinas. And now, sir, you mentioned this earlier. We talked about, you did mention briefly about government agencies. So my question is, like, as someone who has worked with different Philippine government agencies to achieve their project goals, we think you might be the best person to hear us out. So as you know, we in the IT BPO, we work in a dynamic, fast-paced industry. Na-mention nga po kanina, marami pong graveyard, marami pong baliktad ang oras. And because of that, medyo challenge po to access government services, lalo na ngayon na uso pa din yung pila kahit na dapat wala na, minimum to zero na pila na po, di ba, sa public contact and exposure. Ano po sa tingin nyo ang dapat gawin ng government agencies to make their services more accessible to people like us na hindi po kailangan ng pumila pa rin?
Yeah, the number one really there is the make the government services digitalized online. That's really that's really the first and the most important. Make the government services online, digitalized, and kailangan may nakatutok parate. Ibig sabihin, there must always be someone attending to you, even behind the computer. And tapos give limits to ito yung citizens' rights na sinimulan ni na, for instance, Mayor Jess Robredo at pinagpatuloy ni na VP Leni na alam mo na kung halimbawa pag government service, citizens' rights no sa services na itong particular government service sa isang agency, ito yung requirements, ito yung fee payable, at ito yung days required bago mo siya makuha. Para alam mo na exactly kung ano yung requirements, ano yung fee payable, at alam mo na kung within 3 days, makukuha mo na siya. So, it must be very clear para at least kung hindi na-deliver ng agency na yon, pwede mo talaga singilin ang agency na yon. So, all these things must be made very, very clear. No, para wala nang under the table. No? And including the payment should be cashless as much as possible. Para wala ng human interaction. It is really the human interaction that creates opportunities for corruption, for bribery. And if you can remove that, then so. In fact, one time I was asked to chair the evaluation panel of the transformation program of the Bureau of Customs, and during that panel evaluation, I learned that if you can only digitalize itong Bureau of Customs Services, 80% of the graft and corruption of the Bureau of Customs will go away. 80%. So, but of course, we try to understand how come they could not do that. Diba? How come they could not digitalize the Bureau of Customs system and operations? Ang budget that was needed was 7 billion pesos. Yung 7 billion na yun is not a big amount of money if you are serious in improving the services and removing the corruption in the Bureau of Customs. So it can be done. So yun po, no? Siguro number one is really digitalization of the government services. Number two is provide services for night workers. So even if the night workers, not only in the private sector, even in the government, we should be open to the possibility that government is offering night services. Workers who are government workers at night. No? So dapat hindi lang yung police, dapat hindi lang yung public hospitals, dapat hindi lang yung airports na may government workers working at night, but including essential government offices providing basic service to the people. They should also be open to the idea of having government workers working at night to help those workers from the private sector na nagtatrabaho sa gabi.
Thank you so much once again, Sir Alex, for letting us know letting us know about your platform even better. Naku, sobrang ganda po talaga nung view ninyo, especially when you were talking about healthcare, education, and jobs for us Filipinos, na may posibilidad din po talaga na hindi na tayo maging survival mode palagi, no? Pwede tayong mag-thrive here in our beloved country with our loved ones, and critical time din po talaga sa atin. So it's very important to be a part of the solution. Now, sir, before we end, do you have any parting words for our viewers?
Yeah, I guess I just would like to stress that tayong mga Filipinos, we are not second class. We are not second class to the Chinese, not second class to the Japanese, not second class to the Koreans, not second class to the Singaporeans, not to anyone in this world. Kung kaya nilang ma-develop yung bansa nila, kaya din ng Pilipino, kaya din natin. Isulong lang natin yung mabuting gobyerno at ipaglaban lang natin yung karapatan natin at yung karapatan natin at pangarap natin sa bansang Pilipinas at sa ating mga pamilya. Ipaglaban po natin yun. Especially po yung tunay na pagbabago at politika ng mabuting gobyerno. So yun po talaga ang magdudulot ng pag-uunlad sa ating bayan.
I love what you said, Sir Alex. True enough. Like, we Filipinos are not second class. It's a good line that resonates strongly with our, with our sector, with the IT BPO. So I guess that's it. Thank you so much, Sir Alex. To everyone who tuned in, stay tuned for more Tech Talk, our virtual kwentuhan for IT BPO employees. You can follow our conversation on Twitter with the hashtag Tech Talk with Alex. This is Cam.
And this is Kiel. Stay safe and vote wisely.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Attorney Alex. Salamat po.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.